Well, hello and welcome to the Unofficial Unreal Engine podcast, where we talk about all things Unreal Engine and also 8090s. We're your hosts. My name's Alex, and no Jacob today. This is a very special episode. I am here with my good friend who I've never met in person before, Jay from JSFILMZ. Welcome, Jay.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
I've been such a fan of you when you burst onto the scene, which feels like not that long ago. Let's start with like the real basics here. When did you start using Unreal Engine?
I started using Unreal Engine, just started kind of like install it, I guess. It was during the pandemic. I was off for like 4 days. I guess that was like end of 2020 is when I installed Unreal Engine 4.
And why? What was the reason? What was going through your head?
Well, basically what happened was I stopped playing video games. I was playing a game and I ended up didn't liking it. They just started doing some stuff in it. I quit. So I had a lot of free time during the pandemic. Um, and I saw the Unreal Engine 5 demo with the Valley of the no, not that Valley of the Ancients, the girl with the girl flying around with the nanite rocks and stuff.
Oh, Echo, yeah.
Echo, yeah, the first, the first one. So I saw it. I was like, let me go install it. It's free, and I'll make like a silly game, like a horror game. So downloaded it, and yeah, that's the rest is history, really.
That's really cool. Okay, before we go deeper into your journey, I forgot to do the thing that Jacob always likes to do in our interviews. So in his spirit, we're going to start off with some word associations, and I'm just going to say a word and you say the first thing comes to mind, and then we'll kind of take it from there. And also, again, the thing I always forget to say, hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell your friends if you like this podcast and this kind of stuff. Let us know who you'd like us to have for guests. Jay is someone who a lot of people have told us they'd love to have on the podcast, and it's like, yes, we want him. So really excited for today. Word association time. Home.
Run.
Work.
Sucks.
Food.
Delicious.
Travel.
Is awesome.
Drink.
Coke.
Virtual.
Reality.
Unreal Engine.
It's tough.
Tough's a good word association. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got 3 questions. How do you take your coffee?
It's all black, man.
All black. All right.
Yeah.
Favorite time of day?
I would say sunset.
Sunset.
Yeah.
When was the last time you laughed? Or a brief story about like a time you remember laughing uncontrollably.
I don't know. I watched so many reels. So probably yesterday I was watching some dumb reel or something when I was rendering. So that's, I'll just kind of like watch reels and I'll find the stupidest thing and just laugh at it and cry.
And that can be such a nice release when someone's working as hard as you are, to just have something that you can just kind of like turn off your brain and have just a really raw, emotional, visceral reaction. That can be really freeing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny.
I want to dive right into just work ethic, because I feel like you might be one of the hardest working people using Unreal Engine right now. You come out with multiple new videos in what seems like every day. You're exploring all these different aspects of the engine. You're diving into things that, some people, I've seen people from Epic Games who have been working on some of these features for years, and then you like hop right in and find something or use these tools in a way that no one's expected. So where's all that coming from? Where's the drive coming from? What gets you up in the morning to do this all the time?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I can rewind back to, when I first started. I was a full-time. I was in Air Force for 13 years. So my 90% of my Unreal Engine time was when I was full-time working. And man, it was hard because I mean, the sleep wasn't there. But yeah, so I had a full-time job. I was going part-time. I have 2 kids and a wife, and I was doing a real YouTube channel on the side. This balancing was terrible. I mean, you probably felt the same way at some point. I was like, I don't think I'm being a good dad. But at the same time, I just felt like working hard would take me somewhere. I mean, still till this day. That being said, I know you already know this, but I did leave the Air Force this February this year to just kind of go full on. So it's a lot better now. It's not as, I don't have to balance. Like the thing that I didn't like was I was in the military, but I couldn't keep my head straight because I was sitting there and I was like, man, I could be in Unreal right now doing something crazy or looking something up or learning something. So at some point, that was the biggest part of it was I couldn't concentrate anymore and it wasn't good. It just was not good for me. So I decided to leave. But yeah, it's hard. It's still hard. It's a little bit easier now because I'm kind of focused on just creating stuff and freelancing and stuff to make money. But yeah, it wasn't easy, man. But my point was my whole point was be the first person to cover something that's really good. That was it. And do as much. I'll try to diversify myself with the content. So, you know, I dipped about VR, which I talked to you a lot about, virtual production, animation, and now with UEFN, which is technically Unreal Engine 2. So just trying to become like have a good idea of how everything works. Not really like an amazing expert, I would say. Just kind of like know everything, just a little bit of everything, so I know how the entire thing works. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people perceive you not just as a generalist, but even saying like jack of all trades doesn't quite cover it, because it really does feel like you have some deep expertise in some areas of the engine where you've probed some workflows and ways to do things that very few people have. And a lot of people really look to you as a trailblazer for figuring this stuff out. One thing I wonder about with the military, would there have been an opportunity to start to bring some of your Unreal Engine work into your profession there, or is it two completely different things?
No, because majority of this stuff, they contracted out. So I wouldn't be a like a military member doing it because they contracted out. I don't think they're doing Unreal as far as I know yet. I've seen the VR stuff they had. It's not that good, but yeah. I mean, eventually it probably will. But yeah, I would have had to get. We don't have a MOS or AFSC or a job career for it just yet. It's contracted usually by civilians. I've talked to them because we have one here. I hate them because it's like, do you guys do VR stuff for like, it's like, you know, cool stuff, but yeah, they're usually civilians, not really wearing a uniform.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
on the VR side, so right now you have a Quest 2. I saw you sold your Vive Pro. What are you
Trying to? It's still
now?
on Facebook Marketplace right now, but yeah, no, I got the Quest 2, and yeah, I want to dig into VR too because it's obviously going to be the future. I mean, I think it's a different way of entertainment, man, and I love that. You know, exploring that stuff. My goal is to one day like do a VR kind of like stuff you're doing and submit it to like Rain Dance or like a short film, you know, just contest, not contest. Yeah, like Rain Dance or
Festival.
Austin, I think. Was it the one in
South by
Texas?
Southwest.
Yeah. This is my goal. I was like, yo, I gotta make a short film at night. But once the technology gets there, like metahumans and stuff, you go, it looks a little bit better. Every now and then I'm dipping in it. I was like, okay, how does it look now? Okay, it's not there yet. Let's go wait. And yeah, once we get there, I'm gonna make some VR shorts. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
I do have some scripts that that's meant for VR. So
it's been super cool to see you develop not just your storytelling workflow with all these awesome short films you've made, but also just kind of pushing some of the boundaries of something like photorealism. You've done all these tests of like lumen versus path tracing. How does that feel, especially when you compare it to something like all the tests you're doing in Omniverse? And for those who don't know, like you're doing all this incredible stuff with like render boxes and multiple GPUs, and some of that stuff only works in Omniverse. So on the photorealism front, what are you kind of discovering through all those experiments?
So yeah, I mean, you saw it today. They gave me access to this insane PC, and I tested it in Blender. So when I was messing around with like Maya 3ds Max like a long time ago, so I kind of know the whole render thing takes forever type of deal. And honestly, the technology that we have now with like Lumen, like how fast it is, it's getting really close to like path tracing and ray tracing. It's pretty exciting to see. With my recent tests with the 6008s from render boxes, I tried it in Blender, Omniverse, and Unreal. And unfortunately, I already talked to you about this. Unreal just doesn't like multiple GPUs right now, man. But it's cool because when I'm in Blender and in Omniverse, those two softwares are utilizing all of the GPUs. So it's giving me hope that one day we would get that speed in Unreal Engine 5. Because I was rendering path tracing 1440p 2048 samples per pixel in like 20 seconds.
Amazing. Yeah.
Tracing. So again, it's like looking at these softwares like, yo, if this comes to Unreal Engine 5, it's over, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like, you can't blame NVIDIA for prioritizing their own engine,
Absolutely,
everything
yeah.
they're doing with Omniverse. But I have seen some rumblings from some, not at Epic, but people who have played a lot with the source code of Unreal Engine. And they're looking back at an old plugin that NVIDIA used to have called VRWorks and SLI. And they're, that went out of, that became deprecated back in like 4.23 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But some of them, it seems like they see a pathway toward upgrading that toward 5.3, even though SLI is not a thing anymore. Even NV Works isn't a thing in many cases. I'm hearing that there's going to be a way to start to utilize multiple GPUs in a really compelling way in Unreal. So that'll be great.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I would save. I understand that the focus. Mainly focus Epic Games is still finding the next Fortnite in games, right? Video games still is like the number one thing. So it's okay. They probably have it in the back burner somewhere, but I do see it. I do see it. I mean, if Blender can do it, I'm pretty sure Unreal can do it too. Because man, it is impressive. I mean, we're talking about time is money here, right? So I've talked to all these VFX studios, Hollywood studios. They're like, yeah, we send everything to like a render or whatever. We wait like 3 weeks to a month. I'm like, that is insane, dude. He was like, yeah, oh yeah, if the render doesn't look good, you're pretty much screwed. So it's like that's all the money and time that's gone. I was like, yeah, that sounds painful. But that's what I do like about, like Unreal is I can see it. Like it's pretty crazy because it's pretty close to your editor. It's getting closer and closer and closer and closer to the editor now, which is amazing. Like some softwares you would look at a white node or something like that, and you would have to imagine how light's gonna fall on the object. But with Unreal and Omniverse, like you don't have to. It's right there. That's what you're gonna get. So that's pretty exciting, and it helps a lot.
Yeah, the real-time aspect is amazing. So I came from a background in architecture, and similar to you, like I got to a point where it's like, I like being an architect, but I'm thinking all the time about like how much I want to be playing in VR and Unity and eventually Unreal, and kind of, pulled out of that profession to focus more on those things. But I'm curious too, going more into your background. So like, were you trying to like make films and using 3ds Max or Maya or Blender or things like that, and you didn't have a real-time workflow and you feel that contrast now? Or what was your creative output like, say 10 years ago?
So I've been making like movies since I was a kid with my cousins, like silly ones. I have some really old funny ones, like Star Wars mainly, like After Effects and all that stuff. So I've been making movies for a while, like real movies, just for fun as a hobby. And I just never stopped. I mean, my channel, this one is like 12, 13 years old, but I had another one before that, but it got banned because I uploaded a copyright music. Copyrighted music back then was like, there's no excuses. There's no, this is a strike. No, there's no strikes. You get back. So I've had a YouTube for a while since they pretty much opened up, and I actually kept a lot of my movies on my channel because it's I sometimes look at it just for like inspiration. Like, okay, so this is where you were, and you can see it change. Like it went from making movies to camera reviews to making movies and camera reviews, and then Unreal Engine. So I took everything I learned from making movies as a solo dude and doing everything in Unreal. But one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make when they're trying to make real movies is that they're trying to do everything on their own, which I try to do myself, and it's impossible. I was making movies where I was the cinematographer, the director, the audio person, the gaffer, everything, and it's hard. It's like there's no way, aside from all the expenses you gotta pay, there's no way. So that's like and where I was living is Texas, like really small town. Like there's barely find any talent there. So I stopped making movies and just reviewed cameras. But here goes Unreal Engine. I was making this silly horror video game in it using like a template. I think it's like the horror engine. It was free. And I was looking at it and I was like, dude, no way. I can make a movie in this. And like a month later, that's like I was like, this is crazy, because what it's doing, it's taking all of those jobs. You're able to do it yourself, but it's not as hard. I'm not lugging 6 lights on set. I'm not carrying tripods, cameras, and I have to spend money on it. I haven't bought a camera in 3 years, that's a miracle for me, dude. I used to buy
as a
cameras
filmmaker.
right. Lens. I haven't bought a lens in 3 years.
Wow.
So I'm still broke somehow though. But but it's that's the thing that empowered me, is like, dude, I don't have to wait on anyone, right? And the more I'm making all of these tests, because what I do is I do these small set tests and say, all right, I just have a person smiling, making funny faces. I'm lighting everything, setting up some cameras, see how they look. And I take that and I make like a 1 minute to 2 minute short from that. So I can do it. Like finally, I can be the director, the camera person, the lighter, everything. And that's why I like Unreal in real time and Omniverse for filmmaking. That's the biggest difference. And it's fun. And then yeah, do you have something? Sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah, and probably my favorite part is really creating workflows. Like, I was making MetaHumans videos like way before they were released, and to look at it now, I was like, man, that was a lot of headaches, but I learned so much, like the different workflows that are actually being used right now in production, in like game studios in Hollywood. So it's like, that's crazy. You're asking me like how to do this?
Yeah.
That's insane to me. So again, that's what makes it worth it in my end. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's not a surprise to me at all to hear that you get that kind of feedback, because you're so quick with figuring this stuff out as well. Like I was blown away, the day MetaHuman Animator came out to the public, like you had tutorials going up. It's like I had early access to it for months, and like even I was, lagging a little bit with getting some of that content out there, and you just like brute force figured it all out.
Yeah, no, and that's the fun part, because I told you this. I was like, dude, you guys got a heads up on me. And then I told you, I was like, all right, y'all have a heads up on me, but you ain't winning this one. So yeah, I mean, dude, like when that thing came out, I knew I wanted to be the first one to get the tutorial done.
And you were.
I knew it. Like, yeah, and I knew, I was like, I'm not sleeping. And I know how it was gonna go. I knew people were gonna have tutorials, and then on the release day, I know they were gonna release it. So that was like, I didn't beat Epic Games because they had that out. Remember the one that we were talking about, like during the release? I was like, I can't beat that because that was pre-done prior. Ain't no way I'm gonna get that, right? But luckily, and this is what really helps me out, is the documentations gets uploaded. So I am on that documentations, that release, and just making the video about it. And yeah, man, it's always fun to do that. I was afraid. I thought it was gonna be super hard to figure out. But yeah, it wasn't. I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. But yeah, that's the whole story about that MetaHuman Animator.
Yeah. How do you keep track of releases for things? Do you have like Google alerts going on? Like, how do you know when new documentation comes out, for example?
Well, whenever a new release comes out, I always check they are really good at it now. They have the forums, the MetaHuman forums. So I have that in my bookmark. It's kind of like seeing, is there anything new? Additionally, with the roadmap, I look at that roadmap a lot, because they list what's out, if that makes sense. And additionally, I don't like doing it, but GitHub, I'm on GitHub, and man, it is so painful, but I go like page by page and to see what the commits are about.
Wow.
I just wish I can sort it somehow, but bro, I'm talking about like 150 pages of GitHub, and I was just kind of like, next, okay, is there anything that I like? No, okay, is there anything like, ooh, new CVAR? Okay, cool. R dot, all right, let's do, yeah, I have a notepad, and yeah, dude,
Wow.
I don't like doing the GitHub thing, but they put the stuff out there before anything else.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what's coming, go be a GitHub, I
So,
guess. Yeah.
and you're someone who does a great job of also staying up to date with the source build from GitHub. So
Oh,
you're in
yeah.
5.4 right now, while a lot of people
Yeah.
are still wrapping their head around 5.3. Have you
Yeah.
noticed anything in 5.4 yet that people should be excited about?
I don't know. I haven't been GitHub, or what is it, dumpster dive is what I call it, because I'm legit like just digging for information. No, I haven't done it in a while, but maybe a feedback for them, like maybe make it easier for us to find out what's good. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I haven't noticed anything. I don't think 5.4, I mean 5.3 was the biggest one with the multi-balance lighting
Mm.
reflections that I covered like months ago, and people call me a liar for it. It's like, dude, I'm not lying, it's coming out. I'm not pulling this out of my butt. And then sure enough, it goes 5.3, and like, oh yeah, I
He
guess
was
that's a
right.
real feature. But yeah, that's the funniest thing is like clickbait. I'm like, dude, no, it's on GitHub. Go get it. It's
Yeah.
like I'm getting tired of people calling me a liar, but just go sign up GitHub. It's a private, repo. Go download it and play around with it. But yeah, I think 5.3 is huge. It's a big one.
Yeah. Every time you post something about, something you got from source, like when 5.3 was out, 5.2 is out, and you're posting about 5.3, and now it's 5.4,
Yeah.
there's always someone in your comments who's like, that's photoshopped. Like, you're a liar.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah,
out. They're
yeah.
like, there's no way you
And
have
what
that.
what I always tell people is like, it is so much harder for me to fake this, bro. It would be hard for me to fake a feature that I'm showing you right now than
Right.
it being real. Like I can't just add, I'm not a genius. I can't just add multi-bounce rendering reflections in here in the UI, dude. It doesn't work like that. And it's just to show you how Epic Games, how hardworking Epic Games people are. I mean,
Yeah.
that GitHub, bro, it is. I check on there on holidays, and it's like these people don't stop working
Mhm.
because I'm like, stop committing. I can't keep up, dude. But no, I honestly, it's kudos because they are trying to, they're doing it a crazy way. They're doing it all the engines simultaneously, trying to keep everything updated. They still have 4.26 on there
Mm.
officially, correct?
Yeah.
2.6, 2.7, 5, 1, 2.
And there's 4.27 plus, which is like additional
Oh yeah,
commits
yeah, yeah.
after
I was like,
5.0 came
dude,
out.
that's insane. I don't. Do you think they'll still keep that? Do you think they'll still keep it the same way like that in 6, or just kind of just wait until 5 versions and they'll come up with like 5 or 6.5? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, and I'm getting feedback from people, obviously. So obviously, there's some goods and bads about that. Is
Right.
let's say you start with project with 2 and it goes 3, and there's like multi-balance reflections, like I really want that,
Yeah.
and now you update and everything breaks. So I know I see both sides of that. We're getting new features, but they're still in experimental. So um it's a question of, do you really want it to be an experimental or not at all? And we'll
Mhm.
just show it to you when it's ready later. So
Yeah.
that's really the question.
In some ways, it's kind of exactly the opposite of what Apple does. And, maybe
Yeah.
that's why there's some fighting going on, where it's like
Yeah.
Apple wants to pare everything down to like, here is the perfect gem of like what we have internally tested 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And like, we
Yeah.
are going to release these 2 features. And Epic's like, here's 100 features. 20 of them are
Yeah.
amazing and they work great. And 40 of them are totally broken.
Yeah.
But like, they just want to give you everything, this big toy
I
box.
know. Yeah, I know. I know. I do. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it both ways. But I don't envy like game devs
Yeah.
because I really don't. And plugin makers. Like I know a lot of plugin makers in the Epic Marketplace. I was like, dude, I don't envy you. And I always talk crap. It's like, hey, 5.4 is out. I know you just had 5.3 done. Good luck, dude. But yeah, man. Sorry, that was a long answer.
Yeah, no, that was great. I want to go back to something you were talking about with making your first, horror experience. And
Yeah.
there's this term I'm surprised a lot of people still don't know. The term is kit bashing. And
Yes.
Unreal Engine, of course, is great for this. The opportunity to take all these assets that are totally, free to use, or, we have 5 free assets every month in the
Yeah,
marketplace as
man.
well. And you can do whatever you want with them. And you're one of the
Yep.
best people I've noticed about finding ways to take certain environments and doing something really exciting with them. So what's that like for you in terms of a creative process? You see some pack out there that you can do something with, and then your imagination starts to run wild.
Yeah. So I guess one of my hobbies now is just going to Epic Marketplace. Like I just purchased like two things. I go to Epic Marketplace and look at new releases, and I go through them, and I'm really looking for photorealistic stuff.
Yeah.
And then obviously when I have the budget, I would watch it, and when I have the budget, I'll purchase it. But the way I make movies or shorts is I look at the environment first because it's the hardest thing to get right now. It's photorealistic environments because majority of the environments still they're kind of game assets, right?
Yeah.
So the photorealistic one sticks out. So say right now I just bought a cabin, right? A cabin, it's pretty close to photorealistic. So now that I have that cabin, now I think about a story that I can tell in that cabin. So that's how it works. Is I look at all the environments, see what I like, and then see what I can tell in it, which is kind of backwards. Because in real life, you would location scout first.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you would write the script, location scout, and then do the thing. But me, I work kind of the other way around. Find the environment the most photorealistic you can get. And I do combine, like you said, kit bashing is one of my favorite things to do because I can't model. And that's one of the great things about being, using Unreal Engine, Omniverse, and Blender. It's like, don't model, like, because what I kind of one of the advices I always tell people is don't get bogged down on technicalities of things. If I, as a creator and a filmmaker, decided I'm going to model every single thing in my movie, I'm not going to get anything done. Because if you think about it, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, do you really think they model all their 3D models themselves? And that's what people are not understanding. And it's because I get all these comments all the time. It's like, dude, you're just kit bashing stuff, putting stuff together. You're not really modeling these characters and these assets. I'm like, why would I? I'm not a modeler. I like to tell stories. I'm a filmmaker, because dude, it was one of the things that I learned from the traditional movie making is if you get down and get too technical with something, you're not going to get anything done. Like I don't know how to retopo fucking model. I don't have to, dude. So that's just that. It's just like an advice. It's like don't get too complicated with it. Just make something and learn from that.
Yeah, and similarly, I think you do such a great job of, in the same way you just said, don't get hung up on technicalities. Like, I think you're also able to see through, let's call it like the way things can kind of have a previs quality and then kind of see what it's going to look like when you come out the other end. So when you're in director mode, for example, if you've got people in, accent suits and you're directing a mocap shoot or something like that, what's that process like for you? And what kind of things do you try to keep in mind to get the best results from your performers and to kind of think about what that end product is going to look like?
So I usually start with the environment, right? So for say the two people in the bar that I purchased for like $20, I get the bar, I download it, and I just move some sets around, some chairs, some tables. I light everything, and then in my head, I get the shots. So when mocap day comes, I have like 2 hours to mocap everything. I know the angles that I need to capture, which is, it's the best way to do it, I think. Because obviously where I don't have a studio, so I have to go like 30 minutes away in a small space, but I have to imagine that this is the bar scene in Unreal Engine. So yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. It's just environment first, and then I block it in my head, and then mocap.
And what's the example of some direction you might give an actor, especially if they haven't done a lot of this kind of work before?
Oh yeah, so majority of the people that I get are from like social media, Instagram. It's more like, hey, I have this script. Show up Saturday. Never met them before. So luckily, I've been lucky enough that a lot of them are professionals. But directing wise, it's majority of them obviously never done mocap before, and honestly, I've never done a legit real mocap session before. I've never. It was me learning and doing it, right? But to me, the more I do it, the more I learn. So now I like, okay, so now that you have the suit on, you just got to be mindful. If you're say crossing your arms, you have to like give your arms some room a little bit because if not, it's going to go through you. So things like that comes with experience, right? So yeah, no, I mean, well, the Cyberpunk one that got featured by Epic, that was my first mocap.
Oh, that's so cool.
that I ever made, dude. That was like 3 hours in the making.
Wow.
We were there for 3 hours, and I mocapped 4 people in one suit.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was
Those must have
kind
gotten
of
sweaty.
disgusting. It was kind of gross and disgusting, but luckily I had multiple t-shirts.
Oh,
So the
good.
Xsense window has multiple shirts. So I was lucky enough to do that. But yeah, that was my first one. It was like 3 hours. That was my very first mocap suit that wasn't just me.
Yeah.
Learned a ton with that one.
And what I want people to understand, though, is like, that's not beginner's luck. Just because it was your first mocap shoot, you had all these other skills, though, and this artistry that you were taking from, you know, all the work you've done before. And it just translated really well to doing a mocap shoot. So it's like, it's not just like a coincidence that
Oh,
happened.
no, absolutely. I had a plan. And again, and my YouTube channel has become this library of just pure madness about most random things.
Yeah.
But every now and then you're gonna see me do a lot of mocap tests, lighting tests. I'm leaving those there because that's my notes.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if it usually goes like this. When you start seeing me like do some metahumans lighting tests, whatever, usually there's a short film coming up just before that. And that's the practice. That's really the practice. That's not me going YOLO, just showing up on a Saturday and saying, all right, dude, let's do this. Those little mini tests that I upload are really my look dev.
Yeah.
You know, and it's good because I'm sharing it with everyone. It's weird as heck that it's so random that it's just a person standing and looking in, but that is actually me sharing my notes with everyone, you know, because when I look at that, I was like, okay, where was the lighting at? Oh yeah, that one looks, that angle looks good. That facial animation looks good. So yeah, that's how I do it. You know, I just don't show up on a Saturday and just go YOLO. But you know, like, I mean, even if you prepare, because like the cyberpunk one, I actually had people call out the day before the shoot. So those 2 new people, well, they didn't have a chance to actually memorize. So I'm glad they did. But yeah, those stuff you can't prepare for. That's you know, that's always gonna happen, something like that. And every shoot, actually, something always happens to me that I just gotta go figure out something.
Yeah. Now, going back to this idea of your videos as kind of being notes for yourself as well, have you ever gone back and watched, say, a video you made a year ago because you're trying to remember, like, how does that technique work? And you actually like demonstrated it?
Yeah, absolutely, all the time. And you know, that's how the actual YouTube channel started.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
It was a tutorial for myself.
Wow.
But at the same time, I don't like writing. So yeah, that was me in my beginning of Unreal Engine, was me making a tutorial so I can come back to it later. And I still do that.
Yeah.
I just did that recently with, like, yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid, but it's like I can't remember everything. There's so much tech, man. And I can't remember everything, so I have to revert back and watch my own video. Sounds weird, but
no, I don't think it's weird at all. Like, same thing for me. Absolutely. Like, I stepped away from Unity for so long, and now because of the Apple Vision Pro stuff, I get to have like a developer session with an Apple Vision Pro in a couple weeks, and it's like, okay, I don't know if it's going to work with Unreal, so I need to go back to Unity. And I'm watching these really old videos I made in like 2016 where I was just demonstrating the Unity thing, and it's like, oh, that's how that C#
like,
thing
dude,
works.
And then you're like, wow, this guy's really smart.
Yeah, he articulates this so well.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this guy's really fucking good. I was like, yeah, that was you 2 years ago. What happened?
What happened?
I feel the same way, dude. I do it too. I know it sounds narcissistic, but it's our notes. It's how we write notes, and we share with everyone, man. Yeah, that's fun.
So something else we have in common that I'm excited to talk about a little bit is parenting. As you know, I used to have a podcast called XR Dad, and my friend Logan Smith and I would share, you know, different technology things we were doing and showing our kids. So we are both fathers of 2 children, and I'm curious, how does parenting, you know, work its way into your life? You're obviously working incredibly hard. I'm sure some of that is setting a good example for your kids. Like, this is what it looks like to work really hard and achieve your dreams. But I also see you incorporating them into things. Your daughter gave an amazing tutorial. Like, what's it like pulling all of those things and figuring out how to balance it all? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I actually I didn't grow up. Unfortunately, my mom and dad were working overseas. So I didn't grow up with like parents. Like, they were there, but they were working overseas to make money to send to me, and so I can have a good life. So my whole role in life is to really just get a second chance with my kids. to experience all that stuff that I didn't get to experience. So it's kind of like a redemption. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
being a parent is actually being a child again, because you're getting to do all this crazy stuff at Chuck E. Cheese or Dave and Buster's, watch movies, eat popcorn. So to me, it's like I'm trying to be a good parent, but at the same time, it's a double whammy because I'm getting to experience that mom and dad stuff that I never got to, if that makes sense. So yeah, my kids, they know what I'm doing. My daughter, she's 6. I've been making Fortnite maps, and her classmates play Fortnite, so she brags about it. She's like, my dad had 70 people in his Fortnite map today. I was like, that's not a lot, but you know, you're in first grade, but yeah, sure, keep saying that. She actually named, and it's so funny, she named my famous Fortnite map, which is the scary one. So that's getting a lot more play than everything else I've done. And what's curious about it is she knows as a first grader what's trending more than I know what's trending. I heard Skibbity Toilet from her before I heard it from anywhere else. It's like a time machine. So I'm starting to listen to what she's saying. She's like, Dad, you should really make a Bigfoot one. I was like, Bigfoot, okay. She's like, you know, in the woods, there's gonna be a camper in there and they're gonna be stuck. I was like, all right, what else? Because it's like, it's crazy, man. She knows, she's so smart. And she puts on the VR every time she comes here, she puts on my Quest 2. And she just kind of like pretends like, oh, what's going on? But it's the funniest thing. My son, he loves dinosaurs, so I put some dinosaur in VR. He gets scared of them. So yeah, I mean, to me, man, it's creating memories. I don't know if they're gonna remember these things because my son's 4, she's 6.
But you're recording a lot of it.
So right. But hopefully one day, right. Well, hopefully one day, you know, I can still keep going at it, because one thing that I learned when I was in the military, man, I went to Afghanistan, dude, and I never felt so alive when I was there. And it made me realize, like, life is too short.
Yeah.
You better do something, be happy, don't worry about anything, don't let anything bother you a lot. Because dude, I was running out there while everybody was like hiding. I was running out there while we were getting shelled on. Like,
wow.
And I was asking myself, what am I doing out here? Like, and that's such a good lesson for me, because I appreciated life a lot more. So now with my kids, I try to involve them with everything I do. Which I think I'm still trying it. There's still some time like I'm working and I can't play with them. That's the hardest part, because I don't want them to remember that, right? But at the same time, I make sure they understand that I'm working hard, because whenever they want to go to Target, they can get that toy that they want. So they understand, like, oh, he's working hard. Like my daughter, she actually talks to my son about it now. Like, hey, Dad's working hard, so he can buy you some Christmas present. Like, so she knows that too, which is good. But yeah, man. Now to answer that in a long form, yeah, I definitely get them involved, and I don't know. They like playing Minecraft. They like playing Roblox. My daughter, one day she showed the tablet. It's like, Dad, I made this house, and dude, this house was like legit, really good. And like glass house, 3 floors, kitchen, and everything. I was like, okay, we might be able to convert you to environment design one day if you want to so pursue it. But yeah, dude, it's incredible, man. Like 6 years old, first grader, she can do some environments. Like she's not pulling from Midjourney, and it's like the craziest thing is she's not pulling this from anywhere but her imagination, and it's truly insane. Like the freaking wall was like all red with like glass windows. I'm like, what the heck is going on here, man? Like, I thought it was gonna be like a cute little hut. I'm like, oh yeah, let me take a look. A hut with a door and a window. But no, dude, she had like 3 floors, and she had like an underground tunnel, like an entrance underground with like a well. The only way you can get in the house is going through the well. I was like, that's legit.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I was drinking milk in first grade, bro. Like, I wasn't creating environments.
I think about that all the time. Like, how freaking good are our kids going to be at this stuff by the time they're our age? because they have exposure to all these things, and it just becomes, in the same way you'd want your child to learn Spanish or whatever, like another language, this becomes another language that they just become fluent in, and they're going to be able to run circles around us sooner than we probably think.
Yeah, and that's really cool concept, because I just actually posted about this the other day when Unreal Engine for Fortnite got updated recently. I think it was last week. They had a documentation on lighting, dude. So I clicked on it and I was reading it, and I was like, this is Unreal Engine 5 lighting, dude. Right? And I was like, Epic Games is training these kids to become lighters.
Yeah.
Bro, think about that for a second, right? You have a little kid in UFN reading how to light, right?
Yeah.
And at like 17 or 18, they'll have a portfolio to show a studio. Hey, here's my lighting reel.
Yeah.
What? You know,
It's
I didn't go to
bonkers.
college. I played Unreal Engine for Fortnite for 4 years, though. Does it look good? But that's crazy if you think about it like that, because they're doing level design in Unreal Engine for Fortnite. They're doing verse coding devices. It's insane, dude.
Yeah.
It makes me so excited, because technically kids out there can translate all of these skills into money-making skills. Like, that's amazing to me. So
at an Unreal Fest, there was this weird moment where I got carded at the bar, and I was like, that's weird. They didn't card us last year. And the reason, of course, was because there were all these Fortnite creators there who were 16, 17, 18, 19 years old.
yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah. And I met these people who, some of them are like, yeah, I should probably drop out of college now. Like, I'm doing pretty well making these Fortnite maps. And I've got, 10 people working for me, and we've got a contract with Mercedes-Benz or whatever. So
crazy.
it's incredible, the opportunities there.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. It's amazing, man. Because honestly, and we're not talking about 1980s, the difference between our generation and their generation, but we're talking like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, they have all of these, like, nobody has to crack a software anymore. Everything is free. So it's exciting in that way, because it's going to open up so much creativity. It's going to, like, entertainment is going to be crazy in 5 to 10 years, because all these young people are getting exposed to amazing tools for free, man. It's really cool. I'm excited for it.
Really exciting time. You were talking at the beginning about how sometimes it's really fun to just like turn off your brain and watch something that's gonna make you laugh. When it comes to things like video games or movies, are those things you can still kind of enjoy in a really passive way, or is your brain always taking things in, like, critically thinking about like what's working, what isn't, how would I improve on this? Does it all feel like research?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I can still, well, I guess it depends. I mean, if something bothers me, like something sticks out, then yeah, I'm gonna criticize it. But for the most part, no, I watch it. Although I don't really watch a lot of movies anymore, just with the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle came out. But I usually just watch it as it is. But if something sticks out really bad, then yeah, like, oh my god, why did they do that, kind of deal. But no, I can still enjoy movies. I just haven't really seen like a good movie in a while. It's been a minute. I've been watching a lot of. It's just hard because I grew up watching 90s and early 2000s movies, man. That's like the peak of.
Oh God, yeah, so many great
That's
movies.
like the peak of movies, right? So it's hard to enjoy something good now. It sucks because I don't like being negative, right? Because I don't have time for being negative, but it's just not the same anymore, with the remakes and the video game adaptations. It's like, I want to see something new, like something that I haven't seen before. That's what really the stuff that I like to see.
Yeah. I feel the same way. And it seems like the most interesting things happening right now are coming from the indie devs and the indie creators who are really experimenting. They're not as risk averse as a big studio that's like, oh, we really want to make a return on our
I say that all the time, and I think Love, Death, and Robots. That's like
holy cow.
That is my inspiration as far as what I want to do. That's what I want to do, is like tell animations that are short but really good. Did you see the Hibaro one?
Absolutely,
the Spanish
incredible.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I'm talking about things that I haven't seen before, that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, because at the end, I realized, and I'm sorry for talking about off thing, but this is kind of like inspiration. But
Yeah.
towards the end, I told myself, I said, that was a silent film. I just had to rewatch it again. I was like, dude, nobody talked in that entire thing. And it was fucking incredible. Like, but that's what I mean by, you can take an old idea, but somehow revolutionize it to the way that it's so fucking good. I was so blown away by it, because I was telling my wife, she didn't watch it, but I was telling my wife, I was like, babe, that was actually a silent film. Would you consider that a silent film?
Yeah,
I
it
think
is
it's
a
a silent film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, dude, you know, I got goosebumps right now, because just the way that episode hit me was on a whole new level. And it's so funny because the artist, I talk to him on Twitter and I tell him all the time, dude, those characters that you modeled are fucking insane, bro. Like, it's one of those things that we don't get to see a lot nowadays. Something that I just completely blows your mind, because it's so simple. The story was so simple but so powerful that it just inspired the crap out of me. And to think, I believe they had 40 people work on that thing, dude. Yeah,
Amazing.
like 47, I believe. Like, mind blowing. I was like, there's no way. But yeah, you're right. The indie smaller people, I tend to like a lot more, because they're not afraid of risking stuff.
I remember watching that. I had just watched like a boring movie. I can't even remember what. And I was like, God, like so vanilla. There's nothing interesting there. Let's see what's on Love, Death, and Robots. It was the next episode. Watched it once the way through. Was completely sucked in by it, just totally absorbed by the story and the world.
Yeah.
Then I watched it a second time and I was like, how? Like, I was trying to break it down and trying to understand how it was done. I was like, how is this render? Is this live action with like
No, dude.
rotoscoping going on? Like, how is this even, how does this exist? Like, I had so many questions.
Yeah, so I actually I knew it wasn't Unreal. I knew that because I was pretty good at spotting, because I spotted the other one that was made in Unreal Engine 4, and the creator, one of the people that worked on it, actually messaged me. He's like, how the did you know that that was Unreal Engine? This is before they announced it was Unreal Engine. He's like, dude,
cool.
how did you know it was Unreal Engine 4? I was like, yo, I've been staring at Unreal Engine 4 renders for like 2 years, and I recognize those stuff. And he's like, you have a really good eye. I was like, yeah, but it was awesome. That Unreal Engine 4 with the big monster at the end.
Yeah,
amazing
terrifying.
Again. Right. But for Love, Death, and Robots, I watched it. I'm like, I was looking at the trees, I was like, wait a minute. They painted the shit over top of the CG render. And I like messaged, I was like, dude, did you guys paint it over? And he was like, I really can't say, but yeah, they painted over the CG, so it looks, we've seen it before with like Spider-Man and stuff, but this one, they blended it so well. It was like, it reminded me of Take On Me, the song Take On Me.
Yeah, the music
because
video.
they took the 2D video and they drew over it, and they did the same thing with, as far as I know, with Hibaro, they took the 3D video and they painted over it. That's why it looked like that. And I was like, okay, dude, well, all right, well, I already liked the show, but it just blew my mind once again. But yeah, that's inspiration stuff. I absolutely love watching those kind of stuff.
Mind blowing. I saw you posting some videos about Alan Wake 2. I know a lot of people are talking about that right now.
Dude,
how's that resonating with you?
I never played the first one.
Yeah, me neither.
And the only reason why I played this one is because of doing research on DLSS 3.5 ray reconstruction, because you know that's coming in Unreal. So I was playing this game, and honestly, I don't know if you've seen the TV show Hannibal.
Yeah, of course, with Mads Mikkelsen.
The TV show Hannibal, okay, one of my favorite TV shows ever made.
Beautiful.
Okay, and I was playing Alan Wake. I was like, dude, this is so Hannibal vibe, and it's like something that I would absolutely want to make into a movie similar to that, because honestly, it's a short film. Yeah. The game is a short film. It's again, we're talking about taking storytelling to another level, dude. Alan Wake 2 is what you and I are trying to do with storytelling.
Wow.
It's a movie, but an interactive movie. Yeah, if you get a chance to try it, obviously without the kids.
Obviously.
Bro, like, no, like seriously, like the first 5 seconds when I was live streaming it, I was like, oh I don't think I was allowed to show that, but there's a filter for it. There's a filter. There's a kid filter for it.
Oh,
So,
great.
bro, it is. So what to me, it seems like they did environment up front.
Mm.
They made this amazing atmosphere environment and slapped it right in front of your face, and then they layered it with storytelling and then gameplay.
Mm.
That's how they served it. So when you're playing it, you're like, wow, you don't even care about anything else.
Yeah.
And that's why the review is so good, because people are just absolutely in awe. They cannot explain what they're looking at because it's absolutely beautiful, dude. Like you've probably seen all the reviews. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played.
Yeah.
And
I haven't heard anyone. I haven't
yeah.
heard anyone related to Hannibal yet, though, and that makes me even more excited. So
Oh,
thanks
bro,
for that.
it is Hannibal. Bro, look, the way you're gonna see, if you play it, you're gonna be like, yeah, okay, I see why this is kind of like Hannibal, because oh my, the color palette, the storytelling, the cult, bro, it is all there. You should play the first hour of it. You're gonna be like, okay, this game is effing good. So it's cool because I like Cyberpunk 2077, amazing, but this is on the flip side of that. It's like naturey, foliage, trees, lakes. Facial animation was superb. Like it didn't bother me, right? So it's like it's good. It's really good. I haven't finished it yet because it's getting a little bit too scary now. Like I was live streaming it. I was live streaming it at night. I was like, dude, I'm trying not to like scream like a little girl while I'm live streaming, but it's brilliant, dude. If you have a chance to 30 minutes, just check it out and play it.
Yeah.
I learned.
You've
I
sold
learned
me
a
on it.
lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Do you
no,
know
Hannibal.
it wasn't made in Unreal Engine, right? What's it?
No, it's Northlight. But what's
Oh,
crazy is Silent Hill 2 or Silent Hill is gonna be in Unreal 5. And Alan Wake 2 is giving me that vibe.
mhm.
So it's gonna be a good comparison between the two games, two engines. Bloober team, which did Layers of Fear in Unreal Engine 5, is doing Silent Hill, so I'm super excited because I think they can do it. I don't know if you've seen any videos on Layers of Fear, the video
No,
game,
not
but
yet.
dude, it is Silent Hill, like Silent Hill 2.0. So I'm
Mhm.
pretty stoked. But yeah, right now I'm mostly playing games to study the environment because the
Yeah.
environment design on Alan Wake 2 is so good, dude. It's so good. And it's so weird because I know those people don't get like the kudos they get,
Mm.
but gosh, dude, talented. I think it took like 4 years to make that game.
Wow. Huh.
I think so. So yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, go live stream it. I think that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
And maybe port it to VR or something so we could really
Oh
like
yeah.
scare ourselves off or something. Oh, I gotta ask you this.
Yeah, sure.
There's a Cyberpunk 2077 VR getting shared around.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually VR, man. What's your take on that?
Oh, you mean the
It
video?
looks like it looks
Yeah.
like just like a video.
No, it's not VR. It's not
That's
actually
what
like
I
a
was
live VR
thinking. I'm
experience.
like,
No.
dude, this thing is getting passed around. This is not VR. They're like VR, path tracing, Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm like looking at it. There's no way.
This is going back to like what people accuse you of, which they can't, which is that you're
Yeah.
lying and you're showing things that
Yeah.
aren't true. That particular video is absolutely not real-time VR.
You know
It
what I'm
is
talking
basically
about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because here's the thing, there is a VR mod for Cyberpunk 2077. So I believe what happened there was they recorded like, a camera path and then rendered it all out with path tracing and everything cranked up to 11. But that is not the real-time experience.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, I wasn't born yesterday.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, major outlets was tweeting it too. I was like, bro, I don't think that's VR. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks great, but ain't no way that would run on VR.
Man. Have you heard about the Praydog mod? Does that mean anything to you?
No. What is it?
So flat to VR, which is a Discord channel, and they post things like, hey, here's a
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2070 mod and whatnot. So most of the times, if you want to play a 2D game in VR, there's a particular mod for that one game. So this
Okay.
gentleman by the name of Praydog has been developing this mod, which is incredible. I've been lucky to beta test it a little bit,
Right.
where it is a universal Unreal Engine converter. It'll take any Unreal Engine 4 or Unreal Engine 5 game. It injects everything necessary for it to run in VR, and it'll add in like hand controller support. I've done it with split screen games like It Takes Two, which is amazing with kids, and it looks beautiful. You get to take all these worlds that were, designed even years ago or, a month ago, and just suddenly you're in VR with it. It's really
What?
incredible. Yeah. He hasn't
So
released it
is it,
publicly yet,
are
but
we talking, VR or like 360 video? Because I've
no,
seen the
like
360
actual
video
VR.
one.
Yeah, actual
What
VR, like
the,
move your head around, walk around the world, add in other kind of ways to get
dude,
around. Yeah.
and talking about VR, I mean, honestly, and I can't wait. I can't wait until we get some photorealistic stuff in there. I mean, we're pretty close. I would say 5 to 10 years, we're gonna get some nice stuff in there. Because with AI and with hardware going up,
Mhm.
like get DLSS3 working in VR, and I think we're good. Like we're
It is
actually gonna get
working in
some decent
VR, but
thing.
not with like ray
Yeah,
reconstruction.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I think, I mean, man, I can't wait for that. Like just getting 60 solid FPS, so I'm not like getting dizzy and throwing up. That would be freaking amazing, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, that's
No,
freaking
it's
pitching Alan Wake
amazing. And
too.
I feel the same way. Yeah. It's like, and I think especially we're gonna have kind of this other group of people who get interested in all this stuff because of the Apple Vision Pro, and they're going to come at it
Yeah,
from this other angle. But it's
yeah,
inevitable that this stuff is going to be I mean, as you and I both know, it's such an immersive way to experience a world and
yes.
to experience a game in a way where, you understand scale. You get a sense of like how you
Yeah.
relate to other
I
things in
mean,
there.
yeah, even in the Electric Dreams demo in VR, dude,
Yeah.
it is the most fun. It's the most realistic VR thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
When
So
I
good.
did that in VR, I was like, this is incredible. And that was in my little low res VR vibe too. It wasn't even like
Yeah.
the top notch one. But yeah, I feel like it's just the PC that needs to keep up. And then obviously the headsets.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the
Well,
engine's there. The
exactly.
engine can do it. Yeah, the
Yeah.
engine can do it.
Yeah. And the moment someone's able to start getting, 4 GPUs in parallel rendering VR, 2 GPUs for each eye, we're going to be in business.
Yeah, when is that gonna happen, man?
Soon, I hope. I know some really smart people trying to figure it out as we
Yeah,
speak.
like
So,
we need
let's
to
talk
do
again.
that because that's actually a good idea. Like pitch into PCs, like oh my gosh, dude, that's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Now I can tell. How's the metahumans in VR right now, though? I know you were
So
testing it.
right. So that's one of those things where it's very easy to hit the uncanny valley because in ways where metahumans would look totally fine in a 2D film,
Yeah,
as soon as you're in VR with them, it's like, oh, the eyes do feel kind of dead. Like it
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
quite connecting the same way. If you can do LOD 0 or LOD 1, I think
yeah.
it actually can work great as long as it's a well-designed metahuman. Like it's not
Right.
impossible to make an awkward metahuman that feels weird. And I've seen plenty of
So
them.
what are the limitations? I'm interviewing you now.
Yeah,
I know
sure.
I was watching your video about it when it first 5.1 first came out.
Mhm.
Is there any new developments on that? Like do they look better now, you would say, in
Yes.
VR?
Yeah, so they look
Oh,
better now.
cool.
There's a couple things worth mentioning. One of which is in the past, you had to use hair cards. And if you didn't have, because some metahumans don't come with hair cards, they only have
You're right.
strands, and you'd have to like
Right, right,
make your
right.
own or something. So
Yep.
that used to be it. Like you needed to have hair cards. Now I demonstrated taking the Meerkat demo and getting all the grooms working there in VR. So similarly, you can have a metahuman with grooms now. It'll work in VR. It won't crash as long as you have something powerful enough.
Yeah.
That looks really good. The trickiest thing I think in VR with metahumans, in addition to just designing everything well, is the eye contact. If you have a metahuman looking at you, and
Yeah.
to have it not, because there's two things people do. One is like a dead-eyed stare that's just staring at you the whole time, and
Yeah.
that feels weird. And then there's the weird thing where it's like they're talking to you, and then they just kind of like look away for a while, and then they're still talking, and then they look back
Yeah.
at you. But to have something that feels natural, where your eyes are darting around,
Yeah.
like that's really tricky. And I don't think anyone's really nailed that, especially in
So
VR yet.
how about textures? Are you having to down res it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no reason to have like an 8K metahuman texture in there, and it does
Gotcha.
really make it a lot heavier. So one of the first things I do when I download any metahuman is I will grab all those textures, some of which are
Yeah.
like 400 megabytes.
Resize it. Yeah.
Yeah, resize them all, downsample them, and that's going to help a
Yeah.
lot with the frame rate for getting the
Yeah.
experience to run faster.
Man,
But we're doing all this stuff with AI and metahumans in VR, and some of that actually feels really good, like having a
yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
with a metahuman. We've got our Charles Dickens thing for Christmas Carol, and you ask him about, hey, what's your favorite gas lamp? And he'll like explain why he really likes this particular model, and that's
Yeah.
totally bonkers.
No, I mean, dude, that's actually, I mean, the same thing that I'm trying to do because now you take that pixel streaming and you can have like ask. Have you ever seen that? Sorry, this is like
Yeah.
Squirrel moment, but have you ever seen the movie by Steven Spielberg called AI, Artificial Intelligence?
Yeah, with Haley Joel Osment.
Do you remember Robin Williams's character as the AI bot that the kid was asking questions?
Was it Robin Williams or the Jude
Yeah.
Law character? Okay.
No, it was Robin Williams. It was like he went to this room and Robin Williams' character was like, "Oh, ask me any question." That's where we're at.
Yeah.
That was like Chat GPT that Steven Spielberg just showed there. And that really reminds me of it, because that's honestly what I was telling people is you take a really historical figure, you pixel stream him, and kids can ask him questions about history, or if you're doing homework and research, hey man, George Washington, where were you born? Instead of going to like, typing Google, you can like interact with the actual, really popular figure, historical figure. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Totally possible. So it's like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, and this is something I think Apple really is going to get right with their what they're calling spatial videos or whatever. This preservation of memories and this archive of like, here's what it really felt to be here at this particular moment. So there's the historical figure side, but then also like imagine, and you already did something kind of like this, but to have like, here's Jay right now, here's his kids right now, there are the 3D models, here's the environment, and here is AI that is trained on this particular moment in their lives, and 40 years from now you and your kids can go back and re-experience what that was.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean the models look like crap because we can't do metahuman kids yet. I'm hoping that will happen in the future. But yeah, no, that's what I want. Is again, we talk about life and stuff. It's we're not going to be here forever. My kids get lonely sometimes and they can go talk to me on the pixel streaming, like, hey dad, what's up? Like, I'll be my voice, my look, my likeness, things like that. Because yeah, man, life is too short. So I'm just trying to, and again, like I said in the video, is like, at least I know somewhere out there in the internet space my family's together forever, as long as the internet doesn't go down. As long as Skynet doesn't destroy it. But it's kind of cool to think about that even after life, man, I know for a fact that 4 of us and my dog were all hanging out in this space. Yeah. Right? That's just kind of cool to me. And that's what I was trying to do with that. So yeah.
I love that. It's so inspiring. Well, we're about at time, and I do want to make sure you can get back to work, Jay.
Yeah,
but,
man.
People think that you're a bazillionaire because you're working your butt off all the time and making all these incredible things. But I want to make sure people are able to support you. So please, anyone who gets excited about what you do, do you have courses that can be purchased? Are there ways people can hire you? Like, what are ways to keep helping you do all the awesome things you're doing?
Well, like I posted earlier, Epic Games just gave me $1. No, I'm just joking. They give me $1 because of a rebate. Also, I posted like a joke, like, hey, they give me money. But no, ArtStation, I have courses. The introduction to lighting course, actually, that got featured on ArtStation. I was like, whoa, what the? That was amazing. Really good course for lighting. It will solve a lot of your problems. I do have a Fiverr consulting now. If I just need to talk to me or need me to troubleshoot. And additionally, I'm offering a lighting service now. So if you have a project that you want me to light, I'll light it. Because I'm finding that I actually like lighting the best. That's the thing that I like the most in the process of this whole filmmaking thing. Because as much as I want to be a technician, it's just lighting that once I get to that lighting mode, it's like I kind of get up. I gotta go like this. All right. I say, all right, cool. Now we do some fun stuff. So I am starting to do a Fiverr lighting with people if they need some help with that. But yeah, thanks for asking me, and thanks for having me here. I feel like we're gonna have to do a part 2.
Oh, yes.
If you can come up with some more questions, because dude, honestly, I don't get to talk Unreal with my families. They're so sick of it. So yeah, my wife's like, I've talked to her so much about it. So I like talking about Unreal Engine. Hopefully some projects that I can share maybe later, maybe for the part 2, just the process of it. That would be cool for the viewers or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, thanks for having me. And I'm sorry this was like way overdue, bro. But,
oh, this is fantastic.
And no, and honestly, can I just give an advice? Because I quit my job, I don't have a job and stuff like that. I did it the wrong way. You have to, even for the Fortnite creators that you were talking to, just because you're all making money right now doesn't mean something's not going to change later down the road. Make sure you're prepared. For me, the thing that screwed me up was the strike. I did not foresee that happening when I left in February, right?
Yeah.
So I had everything lined up, studios lined up, and then the strike hit. So I didn't get hired. So again, if you're going to take the leap of faith and like jump, and just follow your dreams, just make sure that you have a plan. Because right now, I'm honestly like doing, aside from the consulting and stuff, I'm probably gonna get, like I told you about, probably gonna get a 9 to 5 job here, non-artistic related, because yeah, I wasn't prepared. I did it wrong. I made a mistake potentially. So yeah, if you're planning on doing this, quitting your job, just make sure that you're ready. Yeah, if anything, ask yourself,
Yeah.
if anything happens, are you gonna be ready for it? So yeah, man, I just want to say that.
Yeah, thank you for that incredible advice, Jay. And I hope I speak for just the Unreal Engine community in general when I say thank you for everything you do. We're all rooting for you. I think we all see a very bright future for the role you're going to play in all these tools, because you just have the will and the passion and the artistic drive to create so many cool things that at any moment, I think none of us would be surprised to hear like, oh yeah, NVIDIA hired you to be like just an on-call consultant for, every time they come out with a new SDK or something like that.
Right.
Like, it feels like that's very much within the realm of possibility. So
Yeah.
Really enjoyed this chat. This is fantastic. By the way, the reason this podcast started was very similar to what you were just saying. Jacob, my co-host, was like, there's no one to talk to Unreal Engine about. Can we just start talking about Unreal Engine and maybe we'll record it? Yeah, sure. Sounds fun. So I'm sure we're gonna have a part 2.
You don't miss the Unreal Engine panels they used to have? They would sit on the couch and it would be like 8 hours.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, that'd be really great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
honestly, for you though, I just want to thank you, because I message you a lot, asking you random questions in the middle of the night, in the morning, because my brain never stops. So when I think about some of my ask questions, thanks for helping me out with the VR stuff, because I'm definitely new to it, man.
It goes both ways. Yeah, I think we really help each other out. And I hope we kind of embody what's so great about the Unreal Engine community in general, which is that we do all want to help each other and we want to see everyone do well, and the rising tide raises all boats and all that good stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it, dude. You have a good rest of your night.
Cool. Everyone listening or watching this, all the links to Jay's amazing content and ways to support him are going to be in the description. And yeah, go reach out. Buy his courses, watch all his videos, hire him for things, and look forward to the next episode. I would love to do like a deep dive into some, film or something you come out with, and we can really break down all the awesome thought and work that went into it.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Jay. Have fun getting back to your shoot.
See you.
Cheers.
Bye.